好，我是 Michael 老师。下面我将用英文讲一下，一道 Python coding 题。我现在在硅谷大厂做数据科学家，数据科学家也需要做一些简单的 coding，比如 SQL 或者非常简单的 Python coding 或者 R coding。接下来我将模拟真实的场景，用英文来讲解如何来解决这道 coding 题。这个题的难度应该是 medium 吧，就是中等难度。好，那我们开始。So the problem is that we are given a range of prices, where each entry of the prices is the price of a given stock on a given day. And the question is, we want to maximize the profit by choosing a stock on a single day to buy one stock, and choose a different day in the future to sell the stock. And we want to find the maximum profit we can achieve from this transaction. Now, it's possible that the stock is always going down, or keep the flat. And if you are not able to achieve any profit, your function or your Python code just return 0. So the task is to write a function to achieve that. So this question, I think is quite straightforward. So we are giving two examples, example 1 and example 2. For example 1, the stock value on those, 6 days are 7, 1, 5, 3, 6, 4. By some thinking, you can find if we can buy the stock on the second day, we pay $1, right? Let's assume it's US dollar. And you sell on the second last day, $6, you will get $5 in profit. Now, the profit is the maximum profit. You can verify that. Okay. Also know that we do not allow you, you must buy before you sell. Okay, no short selling. So if you want to say, hey, 7 is the largest number, so 7 minus 1 is 6. That's not allowed because 7 is the first day, 1 is on the second day stock is dropped to 1. So you cannot buy at 1 and sell at 7. Okay. So for the second example, we are giving 5 values in this list. Clearly, you can see this list is decreasing, right? So no transaction can be done to achieve any positive profit. So the answer output should be 0, right? 0. So we cannot achieve any profit. Now think about it. How we can achieve this question? How can we going to find all the answer for all the result? So usually when I try to solve a problem, I want to make sure I understand the problem first. So I think I do understand because it's a simple problem. It's just a one-dimensional array, right? And I want to choose a 1 day value, and then choose a later day value. Make sure the later day value deduct the first day. The first day value is a positive, and that number is the maximum. We want to maximize the profit, right? So a brute force method is usually come to my mind is to try to visit every number. For example, in example 1, from any stock value on the first day, try to compare with all the remaining day and find out, okay, what's the profit? And do from the second day value, compare it with also the following day. Find out the profit, if there is a profit. And we do that, and we compare all the possible profit candidate. Then we can find out the maximum profit. That's one way, and that's a very straightforward, but also brute force way. Of course, we can code it, but you usually want to pause. Also ask, hey, what's the complexity of this brute force method? If you learn about some basic data structure, that brute force logic can be done by double loop. So clearly that time complexity is big O n square. n is the number of values in this array, right? It's doable, but big O n square is not. It can be very costly when n is a very large number. When we have a long list of values. So pause here and think about, can we do it better? You can either pause here, pause this video, or I'll just share a hint. The hint I usually give to the candidate, if he or she does not catch that, is that I'm not asking, in this problem, I'm not asking you to find the maximum profit and also the optimal trading strategy. Or optimal strategy, like you buy on this day, sell on that day. What I'm asking for is only the maximum profit. So what I return is just a one value. It can be 0, right? It has to be non-negative. It can be positive, and it's just the maximum profit. I don't care, and I do not ask for the optimal trading or buy-sell strategy. Can you think about a way we can improve the brute force method? So, so if you think for a while, I think there is a better way we can solve this problem, which is that can we not use 2 double for loop, but only use 1 for loop? And for this for loop, we can just keep track, okay, for loop from the start to the end, what's the minimum value has shown up so far? So for example, in this example 1, once the for loop start at 7, because we only see 7, so 7 is the minimum price so far before or at this point. And we compare with the next one. Well, 7 is greater than next one, so there's no profit. We can move on to the next value in this for loop. And now we know the minimum value is actually 1 so far. And we compare the next one, which is 5. Now we see, okay, there is a profit, which is 5 minus 1 is 4. But let's wait, maybe there's a better one. So we can continue this for loop. And when this for loop at the value 5, do not use 5, because we know that for this first 3 values, the minimum value is 1. So still keep track of the 1, which is the minimum price so far we have seen. Compare with the next one, 3. The difference is 2. It's less than or equal to 4. We continue to do that, we'll find, okay, when the for loop stops at 3, we know the minimum price is 1. And comparing this with the next one, 6, gave us the maximum profit. And if we finish this for loop, we will find the maximum profit, the value. Even though we do not really know, this algorithm do not give us the optimal strategy, but it gets worked on. So this is the optimal way because it's only use 1 for loop. In another way, the time complexity is big O n. It's much better than big O n square, which is the time complexity of the brute force method. Usually, I want the candidate in the actual interview will speak out loud about this logic and confirm with the interviewer. Make sure the interviewer understands that, and make sure he understands what you are going to do, and ask, hey, I want to do in this way. Usually, the interviewer will say, of course, this is the best way. I understand. Let's do code it up. Okay, I'm going to write a function. And I'll call this function get max profit, and the input is prices. Okay. So because we are using a for loop, before that I want to define 2 things. I want to define the maximum profit. Before the for loop we don't know, so let's name it 0. Start with 0, and also the minimum price we see so far. I just use it, name it this way. It's prices the first one. And also confirm with the interviewer. Let's assume this array is not an empty list, so this value will not return error. Usually that's the case. So you don't need to verify, hey, whether, what if this list is empty, right? Okay, we keep these two variables and then we can start our for loop. Our for loop will say, let's do for I in range I to length of the prices. Okay. So we have to go to the for loop from the beginning to the end to make sure we really find out that maximum profit. So here I want to make sure there are a few cases. The first one is that for this one, I want to make sure that the next price minus the minimum price so far I've seen is greater than the maximum profit. And if it's greater than the maximum profit, I will need to update my maximum profit. Also note that this I is starting from sorry, it's not I, it's 1, because I assume I already keep track of prices at index 0. So I start from the second entry to the end. So the logic here is if the price is I minus the minimum price so far is greater than the maximum profit, what are we going to do? We are going to update the maximum profit, because now we find a higher profit, which is based on the current value I minus which is this value minus the minimum price so far we have seen. That's the maximum profit. If not, we do nothing. Also, as we go through this for loop, we also need to make sure that we also need time to update this minimum price so far. So what I'm going to do is if price I is less than equal to minimum price so far. So if you see a lower price, you may not update the max profit, but you need to update the minimum price so far. So if you do that, then the minimum price so far will be the will be this price, because that's the minimum price so far we have seen since the for loop stop at the the S index. So after this for loop, which take on time, I think we can return the maximum profit, and that's the answer. I'm going to let it run and also take this example to see whether it's right. Let's do that. So this is the first example. Price is 715364. We already know the answer. The answer is 5, right? The maximum profit should be 5. And yes, it's 5. And for the next example, it's a decreasing array, right? We know the answer is 0. Let's see whether it's 0. Yes, it is 0. So now you can see this optimal way, which take only linear time or big O time, can solve this problem, and that's the optimal way. You can also interact this with the interviewer and ask for more more test cases. So I think I think you will pass. You will pass it. Thank you very much.